So far too frequently, a lot of people have been asking me, do you go Tear of the Goddess or do you go Rod of Ages? And my answer to them is always, shut up, you idiot, you go neither. And I mean, I don't mean to be so rude, but the fact of the matter is, Nidalee is a strong early game champion. She scales well into late game, but not amazingly. You're going to say, well, yeah, then isn't that an argument to take Tear or Rod of Ages, because then you scale into late game even better? No, it's not. It's not an argument at all for that. You're going to say, well, why not? Because you want to have a better late game because you're weak right now. You're weaker right now. Why not pick an item that goes to late game? While it does benefit your late game, in order to pick up one of these two scaling items, you sacrifice a ton of gold and as a result, a ton of your early game power. If I want to build a Rod of Ages, I have to sink 1,200 gold into a Catalyst and then buy the Rod of Ages, and then that Rod of Ages doesn't even stack until 10 minutes later. First of all, that 1,200 gold into the Catalyst is only good for the health that it gives me and the passive leveling up thing that it gives me. That's all it's good for. I can get the exact same amount of health for 400 gold. And that's it. Like, 800 gold down the drain wasted on this Catalyst, and then once I finish into a Rod, it's still not all that powerful. I still have to wait for it to stack. 10 minutes from when I finish the Rod is when it's actually impactful. So not only have I dumped 800 gold into this Catalyst that is not really going to benefit me, once I finish the Rod, I still have to wait 10 minutes for this item to be great. So 10 minutes wasted, not the best. Well, what about the Tear of the Goddess? You know, Tear of the Goddess. You say, Rod of Ages isn't the best. Why not the Tear of Goddess? Well, let's go ahead and look at the Archangel Staff. This scales into an amazing item. You can end up getting like something like 140 AP from it. It's pretty good, right? But again, the problem is 720 gold for something that doesn't benefit you at all. 250 mana. Who cares? Nidalee has no issues with mana in the jungle when she's using Runeglaive. Any form of mana regen or mana pool is really not an impact at all. Unless you're wasting spears left and right and you're not using your combos correctly, this is going to go to waste. 720 gold is wasted. And then, of course, you're spending 3,000 gold to get 80 ability power. Who cares? 80 ability power is the exact value as 1250 plus like an extra 300. It's very cheap. You can get this amount of ability power for 1,600 gold or something like that. Don't waste all of that money for some late game scaling item. It's really not worth it. I promise you, it's not. It delays your early game so much. This 720 gold can be invested into O'Reilly's Crystal Scepter. It can be invested into Rabadon's Death Cap. It can be invested in so many items that will impact your early game, and they won't fall off in the late game. Yes, the Tear of the Goddess will scale into an amazingly strong late game item. The problem is, again, it's going to take about 10 minutes for this Tear of the Goddess to really have a strong impact, and all of your early game money has been thrown away into this item in hopes that you're stacking into a good late game. The problem with waiting and hoping that you're going to stack into an impactful point in the game is that you sacrifice your early game impact in order to do this. Let's look at now my preferred first item, or my preferred item for the late game, is the Riley's Crystal Scepter. This is essentially the best item I see to pick up because you can go for immediately smaller component items. I wouldn't say necessarily the smallest, but you can pick up an Amplifying Tomb and a Ruby Crystal separately. You can pick up the Needless Large Rod if you have enough gold, but you don't really need it. And you can pick up a Giant's Belt all pretty easily, and then finish it off for 315 total gold for Riley's Crystal Scepter. It's pretty manageable in terms of income, as well as it gives you 400 health and 100 ability power, and also it gives you crowd control. Those three things are the three things that Nidalee needs to have a high impact early game. If I'm investing my money into Tear of the Goddess, into an Archangel Staff, same exact amount of cost, I get about the same amount of ability power at the same point, but I don't have the health. I don't have the passive for another 10 minutes. And I also don't have this cool passive that slows things down. That's three things that I've sacrificed for that late game power. Those three things, not worth it. Rod of Ages, yes, you get the health, but you get less ability power, and again, you have to wait 10 minutes for it to actually be impactful for almost the exact same price, and you still don't get that crowd control passive. The Crystal Scepter gives you everything you ever wanted and more, and gives it to you right away, which is why I think this is the best first game item, or first item of the game, aside from your jungle items. And the best part is it doesn't stack. So for those of you who keep asking me, Tear of the Goddess versus Riley's Crystal Scepter, Archangel Staff versus Riley's Crystal Scepter, shut up. No, you're wrong. Don't even ask that question. I will kill you. Anyways, guys, hopefully that was helpful. If it wasn't, let me know if there's anything I can clear up for you. Otherwise, that is pretty much it. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the future.